So for the most part, when I come on here and I do these post, reviews for Raw or for SmackDown or for the PLEs, I try to give you one of my major takeaways as far as like, hey, there's at the very least still something good here that came out of this show. Tonight, really, I'm sorry to admit, but tonight was probably one of the most skippable episodes of SmackDown here, because tonight we had really no major stories, no major angles, no major stars here, other than possibly just Drew McIntyre, right? We had no Cody. We had no Cena, we had no Orton, we had really nobody of a major name here that would kind of, make you want to click and watch SmackDown here tonight. As soon as we opened SmackDown, we heard a Solo Sikoa's music, and I figured, holy fuck, we are going to be in for a hell of a fucking night, because no disrespect to Solo Sikoa, no disrespect to the MFTs or anything, but the bloodline, that whole angle, that whole story really hasn't been the same ever since, WrestleMania 40, when Roman Reigns lost the championship. Ever since then, it's almost felt like this bloodline story has kind of been, on ice, because they still try to milk everything as possible when it comes to that faction, right? Because now currently, as it stands, it's Solo Sikoa, it's JC Mateo, it's Tangaloa and Talatanga, right? These guys, no offense, when they come on here, they're really kind of, channel changers, because I kind of already knew what the direction was as soon as they came out here, right? Because they come out here, they cut their little promos, and then at the end of the night we have a tag team match, whether it's 2-on-2, whether it's 6-man, and that's what we had here tonight for the main event, because Sami Zayn later on interrupted Solo Sikoa, made mention that he is now on SmackDown. He is now on the SmackDown brand. He mentioned that he's not going to challenge now for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's kind of something he's moving on from. He feels vindicated, he feels liberated now that he doesn't have to worry and hammer home the fact that he's going to be a world champion. I still believe, though, wholeheartedly, that he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship within the next year. I'm not convinced that they're just gonna abandon this story, right, of Sami challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. I said before on my Monday review for Raw, whether or not Sami Zayn, you can make the case that he is the underdog still in his story, whether or not you can make the case as far as he should be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. But right now, as it stands, it seems like the direction that they want to take for the meantime is Sami Zayn against a Solo Sikoa for the US title. Do I believe Sami is going to win the championship? Probably not, because Jacob Fatu is still around. You kind of fucked him out of the US title at SummerSlam, and you can't sort of just leave Jacob Fatu hanging there unless you just want to move him on to something else, which would be great as well, because like I said, the MFT faction really isn't blowing the world away by storms. But that's kind of what we had here tonight. Sami Zayn and Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso against 3 members of the MFT faction. And of course, they got the win. The babyfaces got the win here to close off the show. And other than that, really, there was not much of importance here on this show, other than the Drew McIntyre promo. Drew McIntyre was advertised here to give his sort of explanation for why he attacked Cody Rhodes. Now, all night they were saying, like, why Drew would do this, like, how could Drew do this? And I'm like, is it really so crazy that Drew just wants to win the championship back? And it just so happens that Cody Rhodes is the person holding the title right now. Like, I didn't really need an explanation from Drew to tell me kind of everything that I need to know for why Drew is going to, challenge and going to target now Cody Rhodes moving forward. But regardless of the fact, we did get a really good Drew McIntyre promo here where he essentially called Cody Rhodes the bully here and said that he's the victim, that McIntyre is the victim, because all he was trying to do was defend himself, and how Cody is seeking validation not only from the fans but from management, and how that used to be Drew, but now all Drew wants is the championship, not only for himself but for his family and for that fat massive paycheck. That's all he really needed to say. I said there really isn't much more of an explanation to give other than that. I assume we probably won't see Cody for the rest of the month of August, possibly, because he's out filming that Street Fighter movie, so we probably won't see him for the meantime. And something to my surprise, we also got a Carmelo Hayes sighting. I haven't seen Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown in who fucking knows how long, bro. Cause this guy, he's been out of action for a long time, and he's not even injured, bro. Like the last time we saw him, he was with The Miz, and tonight we saw him, and he tag teamed with The Miz here against Fraxium, and they've been telling the story of Melo slowly being like, you know, kind of almost despising Miz for, you know, holding him back. I don't really know what we're doing with Carmelo Hayes, but if you take a look at somebody like Braun Breaker, who came up with Carmelo at around the same exact time in NXT, like look at the career differences, right? Like Carmelo is dying a slow, painful death over on SmackDown, so we need to revitalize this fucking guy as soon as possible. And a last little bit of news here, we also got mentioned that Naomi is going to be on Raw this coming Monday. She is going to quote unquote address the future of the women's division, whatever that means. Now there's a lot of rumors going around, obviously, as far as Naomi's health and as far as her personal, you know, reasons for possibly taking a step away from WWE. Is that the case here, and that's what we're gonna find out on Monday? Or is this possibly, and I hate to say this because I feel like this word has been almost beating a dead horse at this point with the whole Rollins injury thing, but is this a work, and is Naomi going to work us all into something that we're not expecting? I don't know at this point, who knows, but regardless, let me know your comments down below, and I will see you all on the next one.